And at the moment, yeah, there are many startups initiatives coming from the academic education system, right? And there is many people trying to give funding to projects and so on. But if you see the startups world, from 10 startups, probably 10%, 5% survive the first 5 to 10 years. And when you're thinking about purpose-driven entrepreneurs, it's even more challenging because they are not profit-driven. They want to create a positive impact in the world. They're caring for a vision. They cannot just accept money for money. That's a different story. So it's more challenging for them here. So if you see the success rate, then you need to ask yourself why. And I can tell you that for investors, they know why. And I also know why. When you have a company that have maybe the right product, it's the right moment in the market, you have a good business plan, eventually a team, you have some capital, you have done some sales. So everything looks nice in the first year, okay? And this company goes and applies for funding. And the investors say, okay, everything goes fine, but we're not going to put the money in. And the people ask you, why? Well, it's simple, because we don't know if this team is ready for the journey. It doesn't matter the profiles they have. The question is, they together will be able to manage the roadmap that comes ahead. The future is very uncertain. Will they be able to manage? We don't know as investors. So what we do is just to hold back and we wait to see what the team does. And most of the time we see in the young startups here in Europe that the team is mostly a team of creative people. There is a couple of founders that have the vision. And then you have some engineers, so somebody's going to put the knowledge in, maybe an ICT person that's putting the tech behind, and then nobody wants to sell, and everybody look for a salesperson that does the business. And then one person, eventually a salesperson or marketer, needs to be responsible for generating the wealth necessary for the other 5 people to earn enough money to live and to pay the money back to the investor. So when you see that situation, then you know that maybe they have good profiles, everybody is a specialist in their own field, but as a team, they will not make it, to develop the company successfully unless they're very lucky. Eventually, you have a team of people that have been in other startups that have the same problem, and they have experienced startups, but still they don't want to sell, they're not good entrepreneurs, and they are just specialized in one field, right? So there is a lot more of these stories I can tell you. So how the world of entrepreneurship looks, how we perceive it from the point of view of entrepreneurship. We entrepreneurs, what we understand from it is totally different from what the academic world and the hubs for startups and sometimes the VCs, and general investors think about it. When I was at university myself, the first year, I had some friends that were graduated, and some people was working in companies already, so they got the jobs that I was thinking I want to get. So I had conversations with them, and some of them were friends of my family. And I was checking how much fun it is, So they were earning enough money, they were having a good fun. But then I noticed that they always tell me the story, but with a bit of a struggle, and I was very perceptive. So I was asking you, what's going on? What happened? Well, the reality they told me is that after completing the education at university, we got a job, but it was not what we expected. We started doing things and we didn't have a skill set that was necessary for actually create value in the job. And the companies were giving us the space to learn, but they actually were looking at us, you still don't know what to do. And what they had in their heads was all the information they got from the university, but they didn't have the skill to really create value and to develop a company together, to participate in the process. And they had to learn, and it took 5 to 10 years for them to learn. Then I started making notes of what kind of skills they needed. And you can name it, from leadership skills, empathy, emotional intelligence, creativity, multidisciplinary work, time management, communication skills. A bunch of things, I just made a list. And I said, okay, this list is, each of these persons start making this, survey, start talking to all of these people. And they will answer in very much the same direction, and 5 to 10 years. So then I went back to my friends at university, in my generation. I had a small group of friends learning with me ICT engineering too, and I told them, look, I got this information from the last summer, and I want to check it. Would you like to check it? Would you like to ask other people? And they did. So after a couple of months, they came back. We had this meeting, and everybody had like a face of, we are starting the career education, but we know there's going to be a gap. So can we bridge the gap before we end the university? So what we did was to create a workshop, and I offered them, because I had some experience training young people in the Boy Scouts movement. I told them, well, I know how to create games that help you to develop skills, and maybe if we create some games and we focus on these specific skills, then we can do something better on. And we tried it out, right? So I created a gamified system for training them. So we use simulations, role play, games and activities, challenges, and the thing worked very well. We start in this workshop. I was facilitating it 3 hours every week, and 24 people was committed for probably 5 years. We got up to 80 people in total passing through, the program. It was multidisciplinary. We learned to work multidisciplinary. We started creating social impact projects. We learned about, entrepreneurship. We learned about our own skills. We started learning about many different disciplines, because we understood that our sole discipline was not enough to understand the problematic of working together and creating solutions in the world. So we got a lot more interested in personal growth, in education, in arts, communication, and then suddenly the world for us started opening, outside of our own discipline, what we were studying. So from that group of people, most of them became leaders in companies or entrepreneurs today, right, including me. But I learned a very important lesson, and it was that while the academic education is very important, and the skill to research and innovation is fantastic, you can create time to build a skill set so that when you complete your education, you are ready to take action, or maybe before you can start projects and start earning an income with a smart business that will self-fund your research, self-fund your career. For example, I continue field research, and I didn't have to ask for a grant. I was running my own business projects, I was self-funding my own research, and I was researching exactly in the field I wanted to go for. So I was not dependent of an organization, a foundation, I was not dependent of a university, and I was not dependent on investors. That created for me a completely different future, right? And I know that that's a great call, but if you see, I was 5 years training myself to do that, right? So that means that I could fail enough and learn enough and explore enough myself so that I could trust myself to do the first challenges and slowly build up, my own NGO, my own research institute, and start building up slowly through my own efforts, and all based on entrepreneurship, right? So my journey certainly is different to the journey of some of my friends at university that decided not to join our workshop, and they went directly through the academic education. They are making PhDs right now, and they have probably a good position in university. I know one of my friends is administrating a faculty, there's the director of faculty in a university in psychology, and he's very fine, they're having a good life too. There's nothing wrong about it. But I discovered my passion for entrepreneurship and multidisciplinary research, and I had the tools and the skill set to take my freedom in my hands, right? And that for me was, for my friend studying psychology, that was too much. He didn't want to go there, right? He didn't want to do that. He wanted the traditional path, have a normal job, get a career within the university, do more research there, and have free time to do his family, do his hobbies, and that was it. For me, it was more of adventure. I wanted to go field research, I want to travel, I'm going to explore in different places with different groups of people, I'm going to do innovation, and I don't know about the future, but I'm going to do something interesting, right? So there are different pathways. So in the following months and years, you will need to keep exploring and testing to find out what you really want and how you want that future to be. But my suggestion right now for you is, before you start an internship, is you will have opportunities and the capacity to create time for you to learn a set of skills and knowledge that will give you the freedom to have more choices where to choose from, right? So, and I hope that this internship will help you to do that, to expand your mind, to learn how to manage your time, to create more freedom for yourself, so you're going to have more choices, more capacity, to make choices for yourself.